Okay, so hopefully after the last section, you're now familiar with branching and the basic branch commands like git branch and git switch. We're now going to see how we can combine changes between branches, how we can merge branches into one another. So very important to understand branches before we can talk about merging them. This section, there's really not a whole lot of different concepts that we cover. It all has to do with merging branches, and there are a few types of merges. There's one called a fast forward merge. I'm going to put that in critical, as well as the git merge command that I'm going to show you, and the merge commits or merge commits that are generated from git merge in some scenarios. It's really the only command I show you in this section, but probably the trickiest area is something called merge conflicts and learning how to resolve them. So I've put that in yellow. It's not impossibly difficult or anything like that, but there's just some new things we need to talk about when we try and merge changes together. There's conflicts. How do we resolve them? Git might get angry or it might panic. So how do we fix that situation? All critical. Then the one thing that will go in nice to have, you could totally skip this. I show how to use VS Code, the text editor that I like to use. It has some built-in functionality to help us resolve conflicts. Totally nice to have, but you would be fine never seeing that video as well. So concept-wise, there's not all that much going on in this section, but the stuff that is going on is all critical. Take your time going through it, follow along, get some practice. And this is one of those last critical sections where, after this, you'll have a foundation that you need to work with Git, and then everything else that we add on top will be important or nice to have, but not a whole bunch more critical stuff until we get to GitHub. Now that we have a lot of practice making branches and switching between them, let's tackle merging branches, one of the essential features of working with branches. So the whole idea here is that with branches, we can work within these self-contained contexts, we can work on different things in parallel, but usually we want to incorporate some of what we've done into another branch, right? We don't just work in a separate context and continue to work in a new separate context every time we work on something. We need to combine some of the stuff we're doing. If you're working on a feature and I'm working on a feature and we work at the same company, at some point, if both of those features are goes, they're good features, we want to incorporate them, you're going to need to merge your feature into some branch that I can get, and I need to merge my feature into some branch that you can get. And then sometimes we do just abandon a branch and we don't merge it. But if things go well, a lot of the time we combine work from one branch into another. So there's a command we use called git merge. I'll show it in just a moment. But as I've said a couple of times, a really common workflow is to treat the master branch or the main branch or whatever you call it. Some people call it trunk. Whatever you call that branch, a lot of people treat it as the source of truth or the most stable build of an application where you don't want to screw anything up. You don't do any experiments on master. So people work on a feature branch, and then that work can then be incorporated back into the master branch if it's deemed appropriate. It's solid and it's gone through some different checks and people like it, they can merge it back into master. But the work itself is done on a feature branch. So everybody at X company works on their own feature branch for each feature and then potentially merges them back into master. So there's a couple of things that can be confusing about merging. And basically, I try and boil it down to these two principles. We merge branches, not specific commits. So we don't pick one commit and a second commit and join them together. We merge branches. And the second piece is that we always merge based on the current head branch. We merge to where we are, to where head is. So here's a simple example. I have two branches in this example, a master branch and a bug fix branch. And on this bug fix branch, you can see down here, I have some commits, right? I have diverged, I've made a new branch from master, and I've added two commits as I'm fixing this bug. And it's now time for me to merge that work into master. So I want these two commits, I want all of that work available on master. So the workflow here is to first switch or check out the branch that we want to merge the changes into. We need to move over to the receiving branch. So I'm trying to merge these commits into master. I need to switch to master. So that's what I do. Git switch master, head now points to master. And then the second step is to actually use the git merge command. And I'll show you an actual demo of this in the next video, but for now we're dealing with slides. So we use git merge and then some branch name, and that will merge changes from this branch into the current branch that we're on. So this right here, git merge bug fix, will take the commits from bug fix and merge them into whatever branch we're on, which in these diagrams is master. So we switch to master, and then I run git merge bug fix. And you can see that master is now pointing at this commit. So it went from there to there. Now this is a very simple type of a merge. The rest of this section deals with other types. Here's a easier way to visualize this, right? These colors in this diagonal line are just to help visually separate these branches for you. But really, they're just commits with different pointers at different commits, right? It's just a chain of these commits, at least with the way this branch works. We had master, we branched off to bug fix and did 2 commits. Now, all that we did when we merged was catch up. We moved master up to that same commit. This is called a fast forward merge because that's all we had to do. For this branch to catch up, it just fast forwarded a couple of commits. There wasn't additional work on the master branch. Now, sometimes that will be the case. So there'll be additional commits over here that don't exist on bug fix, and that is trickier to merge, and that's what we're going to spend some time talking about. But for our first example, we're dealing with these fast forward merges. So you have 2 branches, and one of the branches just has additional commits that the first branch doesn't have. So to catch up, it's just a matter of moving that pointer forward. So that's what the git merge command does in this example. So git merge bug fix, if we're on the master branch, moves that pointer up to bug fix. So now master has all that history. It has the work that it had from before, but also the work from bug fix. Okay? So again, this is called a fast forward merge. They're nice and simple. In the next video, I'm going to demonstrate one and we'll get some practice with our playlist example. So now let's try a fast forward merge, which, just to recap from 2 minutes ago at the end of the last video, a fast forward merge is a special case of a merge. It's a simpler merge to perform. The commands are the same, but from Git's perspective, it's really easy because all it has to do is move a pointer up some number of commits to catch up or to fast forward to some particular destination commit. So in these diagrams, we're fast forwarding master 2 commits if we merge the bug fix branch into master. So that's what we're going to practice. We're going to try this out. Remember that this is a special case of a merge. Not all merges work this way. And also remember the steps. The first step is to switch to the destination branch we're merging into. So back here, if we go with these diagrams, we need to switch over to master if we weren't on master already, assuming we want to merge these commits into master. Then all we do is run git merge and then some branch we want to merge into master. And then in this case, that will make master catch up on those commits from bug fix. In other situations, we might have some additional work to do in the event that there's additional commits on master that don't exist on bug fix, or there's conflicting information. That is what we'll talk about in the next couple of videos. But for now, we're just going to practice with a fast forward merge. So switch to the branch and then merge some other branch in. Okay, so let's try it out. So over here on our playlist example, we have, quite a few branches. I haven't shown this, but if we use -v, we get a little bit more information. We get the last commits, the tip of the branch, and the commit message alongside the branch name. So we started off with our master branch. It's very simple, right? If I switch to it, it just has these 2 ABBA songs. We look at git log, we have 2 commits there. And then we have our oldies branch, which I think I'm going to merge into master. So let me take a look at oldies. So it has some additional content, but if we look at git log, it just has the first 2 commits from master, and then it has, 3 more commits on top? But nothing has happened to the master branch since we split off, since we created this oldies branch. So this is an example of what would be a fast forward merge. Just to be clear here, I'm using this distinction, I'm calling it a fast forward merge, but the commands you use are still just git merge, and I'll show you a merge in the next video that is not a fast forward. It behaves the same way. We use the same commands. You'll just see there's an extra hurdle along the way, potentially. Anyway, I want to merge my oldies branch into master so I can get all of this stuff in my master branch. So we'll go to master, git switch master. That's the first step. Okay, once again, I do git log. We only have 2 commits. This is where master leaves off. This is all that it has. But now I'm going to run git merge, and then the name of the branch I want to merge into master. I'm currently on master. I want to merge the commits from oldies. And what do we see? It says fast forward right there, and it tells me 1 file changed, 7 insertions, 1 deletion. Let's take a look at our playlist file now. Cool. We can see that all of this stuff was added in. And more importantly, if we look at git log, we see that we had the first commits that we always had on this branch, but now we have these other commits that came from the oldies branch, the George Jones commit, George Harrison commit, and the Van Morrison commit. And that is our first successful merge. We merged the content that commits from oldies on to master. Now, a very important note is that we still have the oldies branch. It doesn't delete that branch. It's still there. So I could go back to oldies and do something new, and it would not exist on master. So they're not forever in sync. This is one moment where everything from oldies was added on to master. But that doesn't mean that they're the same and that they'll stay the same if they are. They're still separate branches, and I can do separate work. They are distinct contexts. But right now, the commits from oldies were merged in to master, and that's an example of a fast-forward merge where the master branch, in our case, had to catch up on commits from a merged branch. In this video, I want to use gitkraken as a way to visualize our branches and specifically to visualize the merging process. So I have gitkraken open with this playlist repository. We just merged our 2 branches. We merged oldies into master. Unfortunately, I've been trying desperately to zoom this in. This is as far as it lets me go for whatever reason. I hope that you can see this. Otherwise, I'll try and make it a bit larger in post-production, although it might be blurry. Anyway, I have my road trip playlist repository open, and if you need to know, if you don't remember how to open that, just go to view all repositories, or you can actually click right there to open a repository, and then navigate to the right folder and open it. So here it is, and I can see each branch reference over here on the left side. Now, master and oldies are currently referring to the exact same commits because that's where they are. They are in sync with one another right now. But I'm going to change that. I'm actually going to add some more work to the oldies branch and then merge it back into master eventually. But for now, I'm going to go to the oldies branch. So let's switch over, git switch oldies. And then I'm just going to add another song or 2 here. Okay, so I added 2 songs by Wings, Band on the Run and Live and Let Die. Let's add both of those. So git commit -a-m, add 2 Wings songs. Okay, so we added that to oldies, right? Master no longer is up to date or in sync with oldies. Oldies now has a commit that master does not. Obviously, if I switch to master, we see that go away. So now if we go back to gitkraken, we can see here's master. The last commit master has is this one, add 2 Van Morrison songs. Oldies is now 1 commit ahead, and it has add 2 Wings songs. So I can do one more example. Let's just add 2 more songs. How about 2 Joni Mitchell songs? Let me switch back, git switch. And I can switch branches using gitkraken or a GUI, so I can switch this way if you prefer. And now in my terminal, I type git status. It does say I'm on oldies. So I prefer to use terminal, but I like to use gitkraken to help visualize this stuff. Anyway, I'm going to add 2 Joni Mitchell songs. There we are, River and Both Sides now. Great songs. I will add those changes and commit. So git commit -a-m. And I could do this from within gitkraken if I wanted to. Over here, view the change. I can stage that file, and then I can make my commit message, add 2 Joni Mitchell songs. It's the exact same thing. Whoops, I mean 2. It's just I'm doing it from a GUI. So I stage that file, I commit, and I'm on the branch oldies. So let's do that. Okay, so now we see this is where master was. It still is, but oldies now has 2 new commits that master does not have. So this sets us up for what we've already seen, a fast forward merge. If I want to merge the changes from oldies into master, it's pretty straightforward. All we need to do is add these 2 commits to master. Well, it's not what we do, but it's what Git does. It just catches up to the top, so it's in sync with oldies. So again, this is master right now. This is oldies. There's 2 commits on oldies that master does not have. I'm going to merge them. So what is that process like again? Well, it's 2 steps. Remember, we go to the destination branch, and then we merge with git merge and our branch name. So I'm going to switch to master. Okay, now I'm going to run git merge and then oldies. So before I hit enter, just one more time, these 2 commits, Wings and Joni Mitchell, those 2 bands or 2 groups that I added songs for, those commits are now going to be added to master. Or another way of thinking of it is just master is going to fast forward and catch up with those 2 commits. So here we go, fast forward, and you can see over here now, master and oldies are both referring to the same commit. So that's visualizing a fast forward merge. But as I've alluded to, not every merge is a fast forward. And in the next video, we will deliberately create a situation that is not as simple. We'll have to merge and there may be some issues that arise. So that's coming up. So as I've mentioned a couple of times, not all merges are fast forward merges. I'm going to show you an example of that in this video. So imagine you're working, you're on a team, 2 people, and you have your master branch on a project, and then you create your own branch to fix a bug or try some experiment out or whatever it is. And you're working over there for a few hours, and then you're happy with it, and you want to merge it back into the master branch. But then you realize, hey, somebody's already done some work on the master branch. My teammate, my partner, has done work since I created my branch. So there's a commit over here, or maybe 10 commits, that I don't have on my branch on bug fix, but it is on master. So when I try and merge, it's no longer a fast forward. If I just try and take these 2 bug fix branch commits, it's not a matter of just having master catch up. Now there's new information that I don't have on bug fix, and there's information on bug fix that master does not have. So to make this merge happen, it's not terribly complicated or anything. We use the exact same commands, but Git may not be able to do it automatically for us. It depends on the particulars of our commits and if there's conflicting information. For example, what happens if on the master branch, my partner edited line 59 of a file, and on the bug fix branch, I edited the same line to be something else? Which one wins when there's a conflict? Well, that's something we're going to address in the next video. For now, I'm going to show you an example where we don't arrive at a conflict, and instead Git is able to make the merge for us automatically. So what happens in these scenarios when it's not a fast forward merge? Something called a merge commit is generated. Basically, Git just makes a commit for us on the branch that we're merging into, the recipient branch. It makes a new commit for us, and it will prompt us to include a message. And one thing I'll just call your attention to really quickly is that this new merge commit is the first commit we've seen that actually has 2 different parent commits. Remember, every commit has a parent. So if we take this commit here, it has 1 parent. This one has 1 parent. This one has this parent and this parent from bug fix. So commits can have multiple parents, and in fact they do whenever we make a merge commit. I just want to point that out really quickly. This is something that will come up later on. Anyway, for now, let's try making a merge commit. So I'll show you this. However, with our road trip playlist, as great as this repo is, there's quite a few branches going on, and it's kind of difficult to just visually show you with all this other clutter. So what I'm going to do is just duplicate some of what we've done. I'm just going to make a new repo really quickly. So I'm going to back out of here. I'll call it playlist take 2. I'll cd into that, make sure I'm not in a repo, I'll initialize, and then I'm going to make a single file on my master branch. I'm going to call this songs.txt, and I'm going to open this up in my editor. Okay, so here's that file. I'll add a new commit here, git add songs.txt, git commit, add songs file. All right, so I'm just going to quickly add 2 songs in here. Okay, I added 2 songs by ABBA again. I've opened this repo in Git Kraken, so you can see master branch has exactly one commit, add songs file. Now I'll make my commit in here just to show you. Again, I can do it visually. I click stage for that file instead of git add, and then add to ABBA songs. Okay, commit changes to one file. I'm on the master branch. Great. So I'm now going to branch off from this master branch, and I'll make a branch called ABBA. Sure, it's going to include more ABBA songs. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'll do it from here, git branch ABBA, and then I can switch to it, git switch to ABBA. Okay, so I'll add another couple ABBA songs. I'll make a commit on this branch. All right, so I'll do Mamma Mia by ABBA, and then I'll stage that file, and then add Mamma Mia, and I'll do one more commit. What's another song? I guess Dancing Queen, ABBA. And I'll do the same thing. Definitely do not need to do this with the GUI, but I'm just trying to show it in two different ways. So add Mamma Mia. Okay, so now we have, two commits on master branch and two commits in addition that are only on the ABBA branch. So if I were to merge right now, it would just be a fast forward. If I merged the ABBA changes into master, master just catches up. But I'm going to go back to master and do some more work. So this is the same idea that I showed here where, what if I'm working on a branch and then a coworker does a new commit on master in the meantime? So let's do that. Let's add a completely new file to master. Remember, I said we can run into conflicts, which complicate things. I'm going to show that in the next video. So that's why I'm going to do it in a separate file. I'm going to make a new commit. Maybe instead of just songs, I also want a playlist for podcasts. So I'm going to make a podcasts file on the master branch. So podcasts.txt. Okay, so now I have this new file, and I'll make a commit just to commemorate that. I'll do it this time from the command line. So git add podcasts.txt, git commit, add podcasts file. So back in Git Kraken, we see now master has this new commit that ABBA does not know about. ABBA knows about these 4 commits, the 2 ABBA commits plus the 2 prior on master, but now master has a new commit. And so merging is going to be slightly different. It's not a fast forward as we've discussed. I am just going to add one commit to master, maybe one more. Let's go to the podcast file and add something to the podcast file. How about some good podcasts? I like one called The Lead, a sports podcast. Radiolab, obvious. Well, I shouldn't say obviously, but a lot of people know that one. This American Life. We'll just stop there. Okay, 3 podcasts. And I'll add the podcast file and commit, add 3 podcasts. Okay, so now on master, we have 2 commits that ABBA doesn't know about, and on ABBA, we have 2 commits that master doesn't know about. So I'm going to do the merge. Just like before, I'm going to merge the ABBA branch onto master. I shouldn't say just like before because we haven't had an ABBA branch, but I'm just going to do the same process where I go to master, I'll switch to master, and then I'll merge the ABBA branch into master. So this is what it looks like right now. Just keep your eye on this and remember, right? We split off to make ABBA, and then I kept going on the master branch and I added the podcast file. So now I'm on the master branch, right? Just double check, and I'm going to merge ABBA. So git merge ABBA. Did I capitalize the branch name? Yes, I did. Okay, there we are. Git merge ABBA. Oh, and take a look at this. It opened up my editor because I've set my default text editor in Git to be VS Code, and it's waiting for me to close that file. Just like when I make a commit, if I don't use the -m flag, it opens up VS Code. And so this tells us we have a new commit. Remember I talked about this idea of a merge commit being made for us? That's exactly what's going on. Git made a commit for me, and it suggested a message, merge branch ABBA. I can add other stuff in here if I want to. Usually I just leave this alone because you're just merging the branch, and that's pretty self-explanatory. But we could edit this commit message. All we need to do is close. So if you did configure your editor, just close out, and that will make our new commit. There we are. It says merge made by the recursive strategy. We'll learn more about that you can in an appendix, a bit where I talk about how Git works. Totally optional though. Let's take a look over here in Git Kraken. What do we see now? Well, this line is new. See that right there? And a new commit right there that says merge branch ABBA. So I can also view this with Git log. I'm on master. We can see I have the original master commits, and then I have the commits from our ABBA branch. By the way, I screwed up. You probably saw this before me. I gave them the same commit message, add Mamma Mia, even though one of them was actually adding Dancing Queen, and the other was adding Mamma Mia. Anyway, we have those two, and I have my commits from the master branch, add podcast file, add 3 podcasts, and then I have this merge commit that Git made for me, and I just left the default message. So that's an example of a non-fast forward merge where things were still automatically merged. I just had to provide a message. There was no conflicting changes. There was no problems that arose. For example, I wasn't changing 2 things in the same file. Git was able to figure out, just merge in that new stuff into the actual songs file, this ABBA stuff, and keep the podcast changes that are on the master branch already. So that's one example of a merge commit. In the next video, I'll talk about what happens when there is a conflict and how we resolve that. All right, so now we get to talk about merge conflicts. When we merge 2 branches, as we've seen, Git will do its best to automatically merge those changes. Whether it's a fast forward or it needs to make a merge commit, as we saw in the last video, it tries to do things automatically, and so far, it's succeeded in the 2 examples I've shown you. But if we had conflicting changes, for example, on one branch, somebody modified a file, and on a second branch that we're merging, somebody deleted the same file, or another situation would be if on one branch I edit one line, 77 of some file, and somebody else on the other branch, or maybe it's me too, on the other branch I edit the same line 77 in the same file. Git doesn't know how to automatically merge that. How does it decide what to keep and what to get rid of? So this is where merge conflicts come up. You have to manually resolve them. It's not a big deal. Let me show you the process first. When you run git merge, and if there are conflicts, you'll see something like this. Conflict, and then merge conflict in some file, automatic merge failed, fix the conflicts, and then commit the result. So this is a multi-step process. Git tells us there's conflicts. Then we have to go and open the files where there are conflicts and fix them. And then we commit those changes. So the files where there are conflicts are actually decorated. They have new content to indicate where there are conflicts. So when we open up a file, we'll see this weird stuff in there. Head, and then a branch name. I will show a demo of this, of course, so it should make more sense than it does at the moment. So what these markers indicate is what content came from my head branch, the branch I'm on, the recipient branch I'm trying to merge into, and that's indicated by the less than, the little arrow head, and then the equal sign. So this is what I had in this diagram on my, let's say, the master branch. This is the change I made. And then this is from the bug fix branch that I'm trying to merge in. So it's my job now to delete or keep both, figure out which part I want, which part I don't want. It's totally up to me. I resolve it. And then I get rid of these conflict markers, these symbols, and then I save the file. And then I go back and add and commit the changes. So here's a step-by-step guide. You run into a conflict, Git tells you what files there are conflicts in. We open up those files. Then we edit the files. We, figure out how do we want to resolve the conflict. Do I want all 3 lines? Do I want just these 2 or just this one? You combine them, it's up to you, right? And with code, usually you need to figure out what matters and what's supposed to be there. And, you have to go through it and be careful. But the point is, you're doing it as a human. Git is not just deciding for you. So it's very important. We go through, we remove those conflicts, we decide what we want to keep, and then we remove the markers, as I mentioned. We get rid of this, we get rid of this, and we get rid of this. Save. Now we add our changes and make a commit. And we're done. We resolve the conflict. Okay, so I know it seems complicated, but I'm going to show a demo in the next video. All right, so in this video, I'm going to demonstrate generating a merge conflict and then resolving it. And I'm going to keep working with our simple repository. Currently it has 2 branches, master and ABBA, but I'm actually going to delete the ABBA branch because I merged in those changes and let's say I'm done with it. So I'm going to delete it. There's a couple of ways of doing it. I've actually already shown this, but basically get branch -d and then a branch name. And you want to make sure you're not on that branch. So if I want to delete this ABBA branch, I'm not on it. So get branch, I'll do full screen, -d ABBA. And it's gone. So I had all of the changes merged into master, so it doesn't warn me. When I first introduced how to delete a branch, it did warn us because we hadn't learned how to merge changes in. But now everything is merged in. I don't need to force this delete with a capital D. Okay, so now we have just the master branch. All right. So now what I'm going to do to demonstrate merge conflicts is I'm going to make 2 branches, and I'll do it quickly. I'll probably fast forward through a lot of it. One for our friend Bjorn and another for our friend, Serena. And they're going to each have their own branch where they can make their own playlist for the road trip. And they're definitely not going to agree. So they'll make their own playlist on their own branch, and then I'll merge them together when we're ready for our road trip. So I'll start by making Serena's branch. So I'll do it in one go, get switch -c Serena. Okay. And then I'll also go back to master, get switch master, and then I'll make the other branch, get switch -c for Bjorn. All right. So now we have 2 branches. Well, we have 3, but we have 2 that we just made, Serena and Bjorn, and they're all referring to the same spot that master currently is. So now we're going to switch over. We're on Bjorn, so let's just work on Bjorn's branch. Bjorn really does not like ABBA that much, but he likes Dancing Queen, so he's going to keep Dancing Queen. Okay? Then we're going to add some music in that Bjorn does like. Bjorn likes a band called King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, so he adds that in. We'll make a commit for him, or he makes a commit. I'll just do it here, stage all changes, add, and I'm just going to do King Gizzard, Lizard, Wizard song. All right, so we're on the Bjorn branch, and he adds one more song. What should he do here? He likes the Strokes, so he adds 2 songs in by the Strokes. Okay, he stages them, he commits, add 2 Strokes songs. Okay, then simultaneously, Serena is working on her branch, and she likes ABBA quite a bit. She even goes as far as to add another ABBA song in. She adds, Gimme Gimme, I think, by ABBA. Okay, so she makes that commit, stages her change, add 1 ABBA song. Okay, and she does one more change. What else does she like? She likes Dolly Parton. So she adds, Here You Come Again. Okay, so she adds that change, she stages it, she commits, add 1 Dolly Parton song. Okay, so now when we take a look, if we ignore everything that we did earlier, we just look from here and above, we can see that we have 2 branches. We're ignoring master. We have Serena and we have Bjorn. And Serena has 2 commits that don't exist on Bjorn, and Bjorn has 2 commits that don't exist on Serena. But unlike the previous merge we did, where we were merging this ABBA branch with the master branch, there were no conflicts there. Here, there are definitely conflicts because we're editing the same file and some of the same lines. So when I switch, right, I'll switch one more time from Serena now to Bjorn. We can see there's a lot of changes going on in there. So when I try and merge the 2, we're going to run into an issue. So now I have to decide where I want to do the merging. Do I want them to still have separate branches and just continue to have separate branches? If so, maybe I'll make a 3rd branch. I'll call that one, what should it be? Get switch -c combination, or just combo. And I'm branching from Bjorn, that's where I am now. So it will include all the stuff from Bjorn, and then I can merge in the changes from Serena. Okay, so now I have this new combo branch. It's at the same spot, right, as Bjorn. They're referencing the same commit. Now I'm going to merge in Serena. So here we are. I'm on combo, which contains the same stuff as the Bjorn branch. I'm going to do git merge Serena. And here we go. It tries to auto merge. Nope. Conflict. Merge conflict in songs.txt. Automatic merge failed. Fix conflicts and then commit the result. So we go to our editor. I'm using VS Code. You can see it does some nice highlighting for me. And we have those markers I mentioned. So you can see head right here. From that line down to here, those equal sign. This is what we had on the branch originally. In our case, it was the combo branch. So we can see it. It's Bjorn's changes. And then here, this is the change, or the changes we had coming in from the Serena branch. And I have to decide, do I want just Serena stuff? Do I want just Bjorn's? No, I want both. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these markers. We get rid of those. So all of that. And then I'm going to keep, where they have overlap. For example, Dancing Queen is on both of them. I don't want Dancing Queen twice. So I'm going to do that. And otherwise, I think everything is unique. The point is, it's up to me. It's totally up to me what I want to keep and don't keep. And in this case, if we're doing a playlist, 2 friends, I guess it's fair, it's equitable to allow them both, just take both of their songs and combine them. But if I wanted to, I could say, you know what? I only like Serena's songs. I'm getting rid of you, Bjorn. And I could do that. I could just get rid of that and say, this is what we're going with. But I'm not going to. I'm going to keep both of their songs in there, and I just removed the duplicate, which was Dancing Queen. So now I save. So go back to this guide here. First step, open the files. Second, edit the files. Third, remove the conflict markers. We did that. Fourth, add the changes and make a commit. So, I need to go back to my terminal. We type git status, and it tells us we're on this branch combo, unmerged paths, and it tells us this songs.txt file has been modified. So now we just add the changes, okay? And then we commit, git commit -m, and we can just do something like resolve conflicts or merge. It's up to you really, but I'll just do resolve conflicts to keep it short and simple. And that's what this commit is. This commit is us merging and resolving those conflicts. Okay? So now, let's head over to our little visualization here. It looks exactly the same as what we had earlier. It's the same process, right? We merged this branch, Serena, into combo, and we have this new merge commit. The difference is that we had to do some work to make that commit. We didn't just approve a commit message like we did a couple of videos ago. Instead, we actually had to dig into a file and make some changes. We had to look at those markers that Git adds for us, these things, and figure out what we wanted to keep from the 2 branches, and then make changes, save, and then add and commit. But now that conflict has been resolved, and we're on our new branch combo, which includes the commits that it had earlier from Bjorn, and the new commits from Serena, and the conflicts there that we manually resolved. All right, so next up, I'd like to show another example of resolving conflicts, but this time, I'm going to show you how to do it using VS Code. So VS Code has some nice built-in functionality to help you resolve conflicts, or it can help in some scenarios. So I'm just going to come up with another situation that will cause a merge conflict. What I'm going to do is go to my master branch, which I'm currently on. We'll ignore the combo, the Serena, the Bjorn branches for now. I'm going to go to the master branch, and I'm going to make a new branch from here. So currently on master, we just have 4 ABBA songs and 3 podcasts in the podcast file. So I'm going to make a new branch. Let's do git switch. You know what? Why don't I, just to be different, I'll use git checkout -b. If you remember, this is another way of making a branch and switching to it. It's the old way of doing it before git switch. It's -b to make the branch and switch to it. It's kind of confusing. The alternative is git switch -c. Anyway, I might be screwing you over by mixing and matching them. I don't know. Maybe I'm telling myself it's better to expose you to them so that you see the different options, but maybe it's just confusing. I apologize. Anyway, this branch is going to be called, how about, silence. Okay, so git checkout -b silence. And this playlist, the person who wants silence, they're going to go to their playlist and remove everything, all songs and all podcasts, like that. And they're going to add and commit. So git add, let's just add dot, git commit, empty podcasts and songs files. All right. So that's our first half, right? We have our branch silence that we basically just emptied everything out of. We still have the files though. Then I'm going to switch back to master, git switch, master, and what should we do? Let's add a podcast. So the lead, Radiolab, This American Life. One I like recently is Recipe Club. And another one is Broken Record, a great music podcast. And then we'll add a song in here. Should we do another ABBA song? How about Waterloo by ABBA? All right. So I'm going to add and commit those. Git add dot git commit. Let's just go with, I don't know, something generic. Add podcasts and songs. It's not a good commit message at all, but just keeping it quick and simple. Okay. So this is where we stand now. On my master branch, I have this new commit, add podcasts and songs, right? I added this right here, Waterloo by ABBA, and these two podcasts. But before I did that, I branched off. And that's where we created our branch called silence. And on the silence branch, I did one thing and one thing only, which was I emptied out those two files. So I have a new commit on silence and I have a new commit on master. I'm going to try and merge them. And as we know, that should generate a conflict because it's not as simple as a fast forward, and Git can't figure out automatically how to merge these because we edited this podcast file both on this branch and on the silence branch, and we did the same thing for the songs file. So if I want to merge in the silence branch to master, I'll check git status. Okay, we're good to go. Git merge silence. And now we have an example where we have two files with conflicts. So that's another thing I wanted to demonstrate. You're not always just going to get one file. Sometimes you can get a whole bunch of files, especially if, we can address that later. If things have gone wrong or you're not really getting your coworkers' code as frequently as you should. Let's say, you do a whole bunch of work for like a year and then you come back to the office and you try and merge things into master. It's not going to go well. Anyway, two files with conflicts, songs and podcasts, automatic merge failed, fix them, and then add and commit. So I wanted to show how to do this with VS Code where there's a built-in interface. So most code editors have some support for this. This is really nice. If you have to resolve conflicts, we don't have to manually go and delete everything, right? If I want to accept silence, if that's what I want on this branch, I merge in the changes from silence and I want the silence version. So the empty files, I can click accept incoming change. This is the incoming change. Or I can accept the current change, what we already have on master. Or I can accept both changes, which is not going to look like anything because silence, as you can see, there's nothing here. We deleted it, right? On that branch, we committed an empty file. So in each of these files, where there's a conflict, I could go about it manually, delete these markers myself, choose what I want, or I can just accept incoming change. So it does it for me. Not that impressive because it just deletes what was in there, but that's only because our incoming branch was empty in this file. So I could do that, or if I wanted to, I can put anything in here. I can add changes in here, silence, and save that and add and commit. It's totally up to me. I'm not limited to just either or. Sometimes when you're resolving conflicts, you may need to go in and add additional code or a comment to explain something. So it's not always just a binary, this one, that one. Sometimes there's a bit of a gray area. So I'm going to accept the incoming change again, or maybe I'll just show you. If you click accept current change, we end up with what we currently had on master, but I'm going to delete that. We've now gone to silence in both of them. We merged in those changes. That was coming from our silence branch. And now I can go over to my terminal. Oh, by the way, here, the GUI also shows me that there's conflicts. And specifically, it will even show me where the conflicts are, and I guess I can resolve them here. I've never used Gitkraken to do that, but it's kind of cool. Anyway, I'm going to go to my terminal and git status. We have those two files we modified, so I'm going to add them and git commit and just do something like merge silence branch. And there we go. Now we take a look at the GUI and we can see we merge that silence branch into master. And with that merge, it doesn't look like much because our files are both empty, but that did indeed come from the silence branch. We still have this whole history on master, a whole bunch of commits that came before it. You can see that with git log, right? All these commits, and then we have merge silence branch. And we can see empty podcasts and songs files. That is the commit that came from the silence branch right there. Okay, so that's just another example of resolving conflicts. In this case, we had 2 files that we resolved. You can have, as many as there are. There's no limit on that. And we fix them all in the same way. You open each one up, figure out what you want to keep the incoming branch changes, the current branch changes, or both, save your files, and then make that new commit to merge them. Okay. All right, so once again, it's time for you to get a bit of practice with what we've been talking about. This time, it's an exercise on merging and conflicts. Now, this exercise is a bit different. It takes a different form. Instead of just following a step-by-step set of instructions, where I could have asked you to make this file, make this branch, merge that branch into this branch, and then fix the conflict, right? I could tell you exactly the steps you need to do to create a merge conflict and then resolve it. Instead of that, it's going to be kind of the opposite. I'm going to tell you that I want specific requirements for a merge. For example, I want you to create a scenario that results in a fast-forward merge. So I'm not going to tell you the name of the file, what to change, what to add, what to commit, what to merge. All that I have are these 3 scenarios, and then you need to engineer them. And while it may not be as easy to follow or as mindless in a way where you just step-by-step do what the instructions say, it's definitely a better test of your understanding of how merging works. So you'll need to make a new repo. Make a file or 2 in the repo of your choice. Name it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Just some place you'll be working in. So I'll call mine greetings.txt. So I recommend you just stop right now and try it. The instructions are pretty straightforward. Basically, it will say something like, make a new branch. Do some work in the repo. It's very vague. Do some work in the repo such that when you merge that new branch into master, it generates a fast-forward merge. So what does that mean? Where do you do that new work? What does it look like? It doesn't matter what it actually looks like, the contents of a commit, but just generate a fast-forward merge. Same thing here. Create a new branch. Make some changes to the repo such that when you merge the new branch into master, it results in a merge commit. So again, very vague. And this should not result in any merge conflicts. So you have to understand, or you have to try and think about, how do I create a conflict and how do I avoid a conflict? And then the final piece is to do the same thing, work on a new branch, make some changes to that branch or to master or both, who knows, being vague, such that when you merge the new branch into the master branch, it results in a merge conflict. So merge it, see if you're right, and then resolve the, hey, there we are. I don't know why that didn't load all the way. Resolve the conflict. Okay, so I'll try this, but I recommend you do it on your own, right? This is a very important exercise. Merging is important to understand the distinction between these types of merges. So I'm going to make a new folder. Make directory merging exercise. I'll cd into that. Make sure I'm not in a repo. I'll init. And then I'm just going to add this file I'll be working with. I'll call it greetings.txt. And I'll add and commit. So this is on the master branch by default. Add greetings file. Okay, so the first bit is generate a fast-forward merge. So make a new branch and do some work on that branch or somewhere so that when I merge it into master, we get a fast-forward merge. So I can name this branch anything. I'm going to go with Spanish because I'm doing these greetings, right? Different languages. I'll have like hola and bonjour and hello and stuff. Okay, so I make this new branch, and to generate a fast-forward merge, again, I hope you're pausing and doing it yourself, but if you need a reminder, all that needs to happen is that when we branch off of master like we have, we don't touch master again. We can add as many commits as we want to Spanish, and then we merge that into master. But we don't change the master branch in the meantime. So all that master has to do is catch up on these commits that we've added to Spanish. So if I open my files, just open everything in this folder. Here it is. I'll add in hola in Spanish, okay? So that's our greeting. and we'll add this. I'm just going to do a single commit. That will give me a fast forward merge. So git commit -m, add Spanish greeting. Okay. Now, I'm on the Spanish branch. The goal is to merge the branch into master. So I need to switch to master. And then I'm going to generate that fast forward merge by git merging Spanish. So git merge the Spanish branch, whatever branch you did. When we merge it in, there we are. I got a fast forward merge. So if you see that, whatever your contents are, whatever your file name is, if you saw fast forward, good to go. Okay. So again, what happened is that I had some changes on a branch, some new commits, just one commit in my example, but it could have been 10 commits or more, doesn't matter. But what matters is that my master branch that I merged into has not changed or did not change in the meantime. So all I had to do was catch up, fast forward to get those new commits. Now that's going to change with part 2. Generate a merge commit with no conflicts. So this time I'm going to make a new branch and make some commits on it. But to generate a merge commit, I'm also going to make a commit on the master branch. And to make my life easier, to avoid conflicts, Git can sometimes merge stuff in the same file without conflicts. But what I'm going to do is just make a new file on a branch, and we know for sure there won't be a conflict. So let me do this full screen here. I'm going to make a branch, git switch -c French. Okay, and then on this branch, I'm going to add a new commit. I'm going to do some work. So why don't I just add to my greetings file, bonjour, right? Bonjour, nope. Okay, and then I'll add that change. So git add greetings, git commit -m, add French greeting. So now this branch has a commit that master does not, but I'm not going to merge just yet. If I did, it would be a fast forward merge. So now I'm back on the master branch, and I'm going to make a new file. What do you call, like, goodbye and au revoir? Like, are those greetings? Is there a term for that? How about farewells.txt? Okay, so I'll make this farewells file, and it's just going to say goodbye. So now I have some work. If I add and commit on the master branch, a new commit, git add farewells, git commit -m, add farewells file. That's on the master branch. So now there's a commit on the master branch that doesn't exist on the French branch, and there's a commit on the French branch that doesn't exist on the master branch. But there shouldn't be conflicts because those commits don't overlap, right? This commit was on the farewells file, totally separate file. The other commit on the French branch was in the greetings file. But even if they were in the same file, it doesn't necessarily mean there would be a conflict, but we know for sure there won't be, or at least there shouldn't be. So make sure no uncommitted changes. And now git merge French. And we get this merge commit. I'll just leave it as is, merge branch French, close out of there, and there we go. If I type git log, we now have that new commit in there. Here, let's do it one line. Okay, so here is where the French branch was. The master branch was here, and now we have a new merge commit, and this is where the master branch currently points to. Now the final piece is to do the same thing, but now deliberately generate a conflict and merge that conflict. Well, not merge it, resolve the conflict. So I'll make a third branch. What do I want to change on one of those branches? So I'm going to change the same file, the greetings file. On the master branch, I'll probably add hello in there, and then I'll make another branch where I can add a different greeting. How about Japanese? If I can spell konnichiwa correctly, we'll put that on the greetings file on the Japanese branch. So I'm going to make a branch right now, git switch -c Japanese. Okay, so on this branch, I'll put konnichiwa in there, and then I will add and commit, git status, git add greetings, git commit -m, add Japanese greeting. Now I'll switch back to master. And before I do any sort of merging, I'm also going to make a change to greetings. And this will generate a conflict, especially because it's on the last line, right? And I just updated the last line on the Japanese branch. So I'll put hello in here. So now if I add this, git add greetings, I'm on the master branch, git commit -m, add hello. Now we're going to have a conflict. When I merge that Japanese branch in, it has a commit that updates this line, and there's a commit on this branch that the Japanese branch does not have that also updates this line. So we should get a conflict, git merge Japanese, and we do. That's good, because that's what the exercise called for, conflict. So let's merge it. I believe I just said resolve it in any way you'd like. So I'm going to keep both of them, right? Why not? So I'll do accept both changes. If I use VS Code, I'll just click that, or I can just delete these symbols myself. Up to me how I want to handle that. You don't have to keep both of them, but I will. So we save, and that's not enough to resolve it. I mean, technically, I guess you could say we've resolved it in the file, but if we type git status, right, it tells me that we have unmerged paths. And if I do a git log, we don't actually have a merge commit yet. So I need to add those changes. Remember, after we resolve conflicts, we add the files with the changes, and then we commit. And we'll do something like resolve conflicts for now, or merge X branch. And now we are done. So if we do our git log one more time, we now see we have this new merge commit where we resolve the conflicts ourselves manually. Git couldn't just make the commit for us. And we successfully met those requirements. So first off, we made a fast forward merge. We did some commits on a branch. We merged them into a branch that had not changed. No new commits on that branch. So it just caught up. Then we had two different merge commits. One where we tried to not have conflict. So I just edited two different files, one on each branch. And then one where we deliberately tried to get conflicts, so I edited the same file, two commits on different branches, same line, there was a conflict, we resolved it, and then we added and committed, and we are done. Okay.